In this video, I'm responding to Technical Critic. I hope to have a good open discussion, and I hope he sees this video. This is all for good open debate, as always. The first video is called Christian Mindset, How I Don't Understand Religion is Entirely False. Based on the title, I'm going to predict that this video is asserting that not understanding religion is impossible, which seems obviously false, but let's listen to what he has to say.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't really know how to, make an intro out of this.
Then don't. It's all good, man. Just hop right into the content. No one will judge you for it. That's what I do.
But I'm simply just gonna say it like this. My friend sent me this video. You could just read this is the YouTuber and the title.
I Don't Understand Religion by Mr. Negative. If you're watching this, Mr. Negative, hey man, how are you? I hope to enjoy your video alongside this guy's video. Hold on, I'm responding to a response right now. It didn't hit me until just right now how meta that was.
He basically said exactly like really what it is, and
yeah, can't get much clearer than I don't understand religion. Kinda sounds like he's asking for help in understanding it. Maybe I can help him. I highly doubt you will, but who's to say, right?
And I watched it. I analyzed it, right?
Right.
I've taken the time to know what I could about what his topics are, right?
That's good. It's important to spend time understanding what your opponent means before challenging them, so you can actually learn instead of talking past each other. I mostly write my scripts blind, but I do try to understand what they mean.
To an extent, of course. I didn't have to bust out multiple books, but
Right. That'd be a bit excessive for a 32-minute video. A 32-minute video? Oh my god, this video is going to be like an hour. And then some. I have another video to respond to and stuff to say at the end. I shouldn't have taken this on. Sunk cost fallacy, let me free.
basically what I'm going to do, we're going to watch the video, and then I am just going to talk about it as we go.
Good. Keeps you from tripping over yourself trying to address all his points all at once. Although, it really doesn't sound like he's making much of an argument. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's just dive in.
Alright, let me make sure I have my volume up. I don't know why it was all the way down.
You should edit this sort of stuff out. Makes it seem a little unprofessional. Makes it easy for me to call you an idiot. Not that I plan on doing that. Unless you make yourself an idiot. But then I'd be mostly for the viewers. So... yes, viewers make us cruel, don't they?
This is a dangerous video to make, but...
holy crap, that's so loud. It's almost as loud as my videos. I'm gonna have to turn it down.
This is a dangerous video to make, but mama ain't raised no bitch. Welcome back to the I Don't Understand series, where we got the most controversial video yet. Religion. Big disclaimer.
Alright, yeah, disclaimer. I can barely hear it because I'm having to,
Dude, are you for real? I thought I was gonna go deaf when it first came on. Again, almost as bad as my videos. I have a stupid, cheap, poppy microphone that's too sensitive. I can turn down the sensitivity, but then it won't be sensitive enough.
because I have my mic on, and it's really hard to hear it. It's just natural. I apologize if I misunderstand something. Just bear with me.
Hey, all good, man. Totally understandable. Of course, if you made this video on a computer or laptop, that'd fix the problem. But I understand if you don't have anything like that, so.
Because I guess I got to do this. It don't matter what you believe in. Doesn't matter what religion you're a part of. I see you and I respect you. This video is purely from my point of view, speaking from personal experience and my personal beliefs. I don't expect anyone to really be changed by this video, nor do I really want that to be the case. Just watch with an open mind, absorb what I'm saying, then make of it what you will. This video can get messy real quick, but your boy is all about organization, so I'm gonna split it up into two talking points, logical and personal. Religion also has a lot of interwoven ideologies, beliefs, systems, a lot of things change and are interpreted in different ways. What I'm saying is religion has the craziest lore. There's like a million of them, and each have like subsections of people who seem to believe different things. So unless you're on top of that shit 24/7, you're bound to mess up here and there. And for that reason, I really gotta keep this surface level and try to be as wide reaching to really attack the concept as a whole.
Yo, video guy, this would be a great time to jump in and say something. You're making me feel like a React YouTuber of a React YouTuber. Or in other words, like a Twitch streamer.
As some of you may know from my last I Don't Understand video, my mom and dad were separated. In the small amount of time I spent with my mom here and there, she tried to raise me as a Protestant. And in the time I was raised by my father, he forced me to go to a Catholic church. Now already we have a problem here. Personally, religious beliefs being forced upon children at a young age is not acceptable to me.
I agree, Mr. Negative. Do you have any thoughts on that, Technical Critic?
Like at all. No one really likes to say it, but I'll say it. That shit is essentially propaganda. Understand this, right? This world has many—
Oh, you're back! Thanks, Space Teapot. Praise the holy spaghetti noodles. Thank you, Lord Watermelon.
Sorry for the long pause. It was just him yapping, but
I thought I lost you. I was so scared. I was worried I was responding to Mr. Negative for a minute.
anyway, forcing your religion onto a child,
Is wrong?
ultimately, I think it really depends how you go about it.
I suppose. But if you teach your children that they cannot leave their religion, that there is a God who will send them to hell if they leave the religion, and that this God is the only one deserving of your ultimate praise and love, then this is indoctrination. You can't really give a child a choice in the matter. They are a child. Ultimately, if you want to be ethical about it, you should wait till they are at least 12 to present them with the possibility of the religion. About that time is when they can really make a choice, although something like 16 would be best.
To consider it propaganda to teach your child about a religion you follow and you think that your child should follow, to say that that is propaganda, that is actually quite stupid.
Let's replace religion with political party, or economic ideology, or organization, or any sort of cult. Do you really think it wouldn't be propaganda to teach your child that they must be a Republican or a Democrat? That they must agree with capitalism or socialism? Of course this is propaganda and indoctrination.
I'm just going to be real.
Be real. Being real and wrong is better than being fake and right. Ultimately, being real and right is the best, but that isn't always possible.
Teaching your child about a whole philosophy and theology, something that they could put to their whole life.
Applying it to their whole life. Like by flying planes into buildings or joining the KKK.
Is good. There is nothing wrong with that, depending how you go about it.
I've talked with you in the comments of several posts and videos, and so you know by now, but I am an irreligious Taoist. That means I generally agree with what Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi said, but I don't believe in all the mystical voodoo. I'm that way because my father is that way, but you know what he didn't do? He didn't make me read the Tao Te Ching at a young age, or explain the Tao to me. He just lived his life, and I came to realize I was a Taoist on my own. This is the only right way to go about teaching your kids a philosophy, or indeed a theology. You don't bring it to them, you let them come to it. Let me clarify my position on Taoism. I use the metaphor of the Tao and yin and yang in my daily life to contextualize philosophical beliefs, and I follow many of the ideas that Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi put forth, meaning I view death the same way I view pre-life, and I believe desired results come from inaction and not action. But I do not believe any of the religious or mystical musings put forth to be true. I use them as metaphor.
Right? Because you can take something wildly out of context, like what this guy does later in the video. It is not propaganda. Propaganda would quite literally be something of... I think the best way I could do it is making a comic strip, making fun of presidents and stuff, something with a political agenda, a propaganda poster from World War II.
So you've defined propaganda as inherently political. Why? This only serves to diminish the usefulness of the word.
TV shows, a long time ago, America and pretty much every other country had propaganda TV shows.
A long time ago? Oh boy, do I have news for you.
Right? But simply teaching and applying the teachings to your child, putting that to them, there's nothing wrong with that, and there's no way in hell that could be considered propaganda. Moving on.
What if the teachings include, I don't know, stoning to death gay people, or burning witches alive?
Religions, some with different gods and some with different punishments. And without any definitive evidence, there's no telling which of those is correct. This is a fact that some people find...
Yeah. Again, ultimately... hold on, let me rephrase that. I believe that there is only one true religion. I believe that there is only one true God, the truth, right?
Right, I figured you're either a Muslim or a Christian, or maybe a Jew. I gathered that. But there is no evidence for it, so Mr. Negative is correct. If there is evidence, provide it. Until then, the point remains.
If you do not believe that, that is perfectly fine.
Not according to your book. And it doesn't matter what monotheistic religion you believe in, because not a single one doesn't go out of its way to condemn atheists and polytheists.
Ultimately, your faith is up to you, and I believe in the one true God who had came down from earth to give to limit his power for us, right? I believe that's what happened. That's a very simplified explanation.
Right, that's what you believe. But there isn't any evidence, so it's childhood indoctrination to teach your kids. I'm fine with you believing it, but the point still remains.
Anyway, yeah, let's continue.
You didn't really address what he said, you just stated what you personally believe to be true. I don't really care what you believe, unless you can provide evidence for it.
Difficult to understand because of child induction into religion. A good example of this is if you look online, there are many videos of people having conversations about the Bible where someone will point out a direct contradiction or blatant issue with something within its contents. Leviticus 25:44 essentially condones slavery. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born into your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly.
Mr. Negative, man, join us on the atheist side of the internet. You're a natural. I'd love to see you make atheist videos with us.
This is the word of a god, by the way. Now, some people hear that and go into full...
Alright. That is the first, really, I suppose the first major problem I have with this.
That he pointed out a fact about your religion that you'd rather not acknowledge?
One, he gives a random verse from Leviticus out of no context. He put no context into it.
Put context into it? That's telling. Bit of a Freudian slip. But to address what I think you mean, no, he did not pull it out of context. I'm going to read the full thing, but please tell me in what context that statement would be okay. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and are unable to support themselves among you, help them as you would a foreigner and stranger, so they can continue to live among you. Do not take interest or any profit from them, but fear your God so that they may continue to live among you. You must not lend them money at interest or sell them food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and be your God. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to you, do not make them work as slaves. They are to be treated as hired workers or temporary residents among you. They are to work for you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children are to be released, and they will go back to their own clans and to the property of their ancestors. Because the Israelites are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt, they must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and the members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. If a foreigner residing among you becomes rich, and any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to the foreigner, or to a member of the foreigner's clan, they retain the right of redemption after they have sold themselves. One of their relatives may redeem them. An uncle or a cousin or any blood relative in their clan may redeem them. Or if they prosper, they may redeem themselves. They and their buyer are to count the time from the year they sold themselves up to the year of Jubilee. The price of their release is to be based on the rate paid to a hired worker for that number of years. If many years remain, they must pay for the redemption a large share of the price paid for them. If only a few years remain until the year of Jubilee, they are to compute that and pay for their redemption accordingly. They are to be treated as workers hired from year to year. You must see to it that those to whom they owe service do not rule over them ruthlessly. To summarize, Yahweh doesn't care about foreigners, only Israelites. Israelites must not be slaves, but foreigners may be slaves. If a foreigner has a Jewish slave, they are not to be treated as a slave. It never says you cannot rule over a foreign slave ruthlessly.
right? And that's right off the bat, you can tell that it's not okay. You can't give a verse out of context and then move on like what this guy is just about to do and what he did.
Okay, well, I gave the context. Now that we all have the context, do you still think he's wrong to be disgusted by it? Can you please give me a context in which that passage isn't morally wrong?
So what is slavery? Or at least what is the slavery in described in Leviticus, right?
Mistreatment of foreigners because Yahweh only cares about the Israelites?
Ultimately, it has stuff to do with bondsmen and bondsmaid, which is people who work off a debt to someone.
But what about the foreign slaves? You can't focus on the indentured servitude aspect. We are talking about the foreign slaves. This reminds me uncannily of the non-stamp collector's sketch, Bible Slavery Totally Different.
Either it be willing or not, right? Slavery is far different than what it is in America.
Oh no, now we have the classic, they were happy to be slaves in ancient times argument.
It's not kidnapping someone, shipping them all across to a different continent to be sold. That's the definition of what slavery was during the Civil War era.
Okay, glossing over your high school level knowledge of basic history, yes, the slavery described in the Bible is different from the slavery of America, but that doesn't make it not slavery.
Right. In America.
Yes, in the 18th and 19th centuries, we took people from Africa and brought them over to America and Europe. How does this make biblical slavery not a form of slavery?
In the 1800s, and really the beginning of America, right?
Right.
Bondsman and bondsmaid. That was the kind of slavery dealt with the Bible.
But what about the foreign slaves? You're just completely ignoring them. What about the foreigners?
Right.
Right.
So, I hope that can clear it up.
You didn't clear anything up. In fact, you just demonstrated that you don't understand the complaint. You're making a complete fool of yourself right now.
Ultimately, it's just someone working off a debt. You owe a debt to someone and you're working it off by working for them. You're a servant.
We aren't talking about that. We are talking about the foreign slaves.
Servitude, I believe, is the definition, or at least is what the term is that I am yapping about. Anyway, let's continue.
You completely missed the point. We weren't discussing Israeli indentured servants. We were talking about the foreign slaves.
Panic defender mode, trying to find and make excuses for this because it's in the Bible they believe. But here's the thing though, I don't actually think those people condone slavery or are bad people. It's just that they're brainwashed. A normal person...
Are you ready for his response? I'll bet you $50 that it's gonna be, I'm not brainwashed, that's mean to say. Wah.
Yeah, again, second major problem. To call someone brainwashed for wanting to defend their religion, any religion whatsoever, to call them brainwashed is not only unfair, but just, shows your idiocy, right?
Yeah, basically what I said. Wow, it's idiocy to call me brainwashed. You're being unfair. Let me defend my religion condoning slavery. Wow.
So it's not being brainwashed to...
Wow, I'm not brainwashed. Wow.
To be a part of a religion that you believe in and wanting to defend it. Religion, it means a lot to someone. In Christianity, for example, right?
Religion does mean a lot to someone. In fact, it often means more to someone than almost anything else. Just as a cultist feels that their cult is the most important thing in the world, because they are brainwashed. This is brainwashing.
A lot of people hold it just as close and closer, and sometimes closer, to them, or to God, rather than their parents, right? Let me try and reword that.
No, I get the message. People care more about the ancient desert cult than their own damn parents, which is sickening to me. This is brainwashing. This is the only way to describe it. This is literally documented cult brainwashing tactics.
Christians hold God just as close or closer than family. That's how much Christianity means to some people and how much Christianity means to me.
When I say I feel nauseous, I am not being over-exaggerative. This is sickening to the stomach. I can't even imagine what this would be like. This is absurd and I find it disgusting. You are in a cult, my friend.
It has really helped me out to be what I would consider a better person.
You're making yourself a fool on the internet and demonstrating how depraved your religion is.
Right.
Right.
To simply call anyone brainwashed for wanting to explain their religion, to wanting to clear something up.
Can't clear up that passage, man. It says it plain ink on the page. You may buy slaves from the nations around you and may make them slaves for life. This is disgusting. Apologetics is not a sophisticated art. No, it is intellectual buffoonery.
To help people be more understanding.
Read to help people be more brainwashed.
Is, outright, stupid.
Wow, you called me something I am and I don't want to admit it. Wow.
And just unfair.
Wow, you're mean to me. Wow.
Anyway, let's continue.
If you honestly bet against me, if you have the money to spare, then you can go to my Patreon and pledge $50 this month. I doubt anyone will do it, and honestly that's fine, I don't really care. But it is open if you so choose.
Would just be like, yeah, I believe in God and everything, but that's kind of ridiculous. And most people are that way. But some people...
I am pretty split with it, right?
Split with what?
So, someone who only agrees with part of what their religion says, right? Or sorry, the theology is what I should have said. Someone who only agrees with a little bit, half, or a little more than half of their theology, right? That belongs to their religion.
If they only agree with half of the religion's theology, then they aren't only agreeing with half of their theology. Their theology is only half of their religion's theology, if that makes any sense. One can only agree with 100% of their own theology at any given time, never more nor less.
If someone believes in that, they're not entirely faithful.
To who? To God? I don't believe that there is a God, much less any particular God that any human worships. Faithful to their religion? Well, I suppose, but who cares? Religion is a personal matter. It's up to individuals.
Usually, it's something they don't understand.
I suppose I agree that sometimes it is something that they don't understand, but sometimes it's just something that is disgusting or wrong that they don't want to acknowledge. Like biblical slavery, for example.
That usually means that they've never taken the time to analyze something, to analyze a verse or a passage.
Oh, like you with biblical slavery. I see, I get what you mean. I agree, you don't understand what the Bible teaches about slavery. Sorry to harp on that, but it's kind of a big deal. Slavery is bad, and the Bible says that it is good. And how to do it.
And they take it, they analyze it, they try and understand the culture, the traditions, and the time period of when it was written, being talked about, or whatever.
Don't most religions teach that their commandments are universal? Kind of like what you said about how it's taking something that can be applied for the whole of your life and teaching it to your kids. That means that culture and time period don't matter at all.
Right.
Right.
To simply say that it is better to just be less knowledgeable of the entirety of your religion.
Is that what he said? Let's listen back.
But here's the thing though, I don't actually think those people condone slavery or are bad people. It's just that they're brainwashed. A normal person would just be like, yeah, I believe in God and everything, but that's kind of ridiculous. And most people are that way. But some people...
I don't know, but to me it sounds like Mr. Negative is saying that most people believe in the God of a religion, but don't actually know what the religion promotes, which isn't the same as saying it's better, just stating an observation. An accurate observation at that. An observation I'm sure you'd agree with.
And how it is okay to simply just align with part of it?
Again, I think religion is a personal matter, so you believe what you want to believe. Just don't talk about it in public and I don't care. Ultimately, I am an anti-theist and I want to see the end of religion, but I would certainly settle for people just keeping it to themselves.
It's just, no, it's not right, like, at all.
To settle for believing some but not all of the religion? Well, that's a personal opinion that isn't correct. But I must ask, do you work on Sundays? Do you do anything on Sundays at all? Because the Bible is pretty clear that isn't okay. At all.
Anyway, let's continue.
Sure, whatever.
People try to find some kind of rationale for it, most likely because religion has been a big part of their lives and identity since they were very young and they couldn't fathom it being wrong. Think of it like cookie dough. When the cookie dough is soft, it's easy to make dents in, to shape into whatever you want. But once it's baked, now it's hard and it's not as easily molded. And whatever you put in there, whether it's chocolate chips or M&Ms, is gonna stay inside the cookie. I think you guys get what I'm saying. While Catholics and Protestants have many—
Mr. Negative Man, make atheist stuff. You are seriously a natural. I'd love to watch you discuss this stuff and argue with theists on the internet. I am not being facetious at all. Please, dude, you are seriously a natural. You are always right on the money.
He uses the analogy of cookie dough. Yeah, that analogy is actually pretty clever. It does work. That's pretty good.
So then you agree with his critique of religion? Or are you gonna say you like the analogy and then explain why it doesn't apply to religion? Or what? I don't know. What's coming next? Maybe he will explain why he disagrees, or maybe he actually does agree with him. I am interested to know what he's going to say.
Pretty cool. Sorry. But it doesn't work.
Why doesn't it work?
Right? Or at least I can add on to it to make it not work.
You lost me. Adding on to it to make it not work is not a critique of the analogy.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can add stuff to the cookie dough. Yes, you can implement ideas into your child. Yes, you can form the cookie dough into what you want. Yes, you can shave the mind of your child. Yes, you can bake the cookie dough into what you want it to be, or put it through a baking process. Just as with the ideas that you put into your child, that child will grow, like representing the baking process of cookie dough.
Okay, so you agree with the analogy. So why doesn't it work? We all understand the analogy, man. You don't have to elaborate.
And once that cookie dough is done baking, yes, when that child is now an adult, it definitely will be harder to add more to it, right? But that doesn't mean the cookie dough can't change entirely.
Sure, I guess. I understand your complaint with the analogy now, but is it not work to remove things from the cookie once it is baked? You can't just remove the chocolate chips from the cookie as easy as you put it in. It's like filling versus draining an ocean. It takes a lot more effort to remove ideas.
Just as it is not entirely impossible to shape the mind of someone else, to implement a new ideal, perspective on something.
Children are easy to mold and manipulate. That's why the Nazis went after children and teenagers, because it's easy to convince them of things.
Right?
I feel like you're kind of missing the point, but, right.
That's basically him saying that every adult is extremely feeble.
Are we watching the same video? Okay, imagine a big tub with topography, hills and valleys and stuff, and you fill it with water. Now, when you try to drain it from the bottom, it's going to create pools on the surface. And when you drain pools of water, it makes more pools of water. This is like the mind of a child when they become an adult. It's hard to get ideas out when you put them in.
An unintellect.
Did you just say unintellect?
To say how they can only have a certain mindset or a certain perspective or ideal based on what their home life was like.
That isn't what he is saying, I don't think. He's saying it's hard to get rid of ideas as an adult that you were taught as a child, which is true. Mr. Negative, if you're watching, put clarification in the comments, please.
Now, is that completely the case? Of course not. Is that part of the case? Yeah, it is safe to say that. Yeah, let's continue.
This is not possible, dude. You just went on about how you disagree and then ended it by saying you agree?
Similarities, there are pretty big differences, and they go about things in different ways. I feel like I was low-key blessed to be pulled between both because it helped me stay centered and make my own decisions, which is how it should be for everyone. Every child should have their own say on what religion or ideologies.
I do agree that a child should say on what kind of religion they should follow.
And in my opinion, the only way to do that is to introduce them to religion when they are, at the very least, a preteen. If you introduce religion when they are younger, almost everyone is going to believe it to be true without question. Children are like sponges. You tell them something and they believe it to be true.
But to constantly be pulled towards each religion isn't good.
The more religions you hear about, the bigger and grander your perspective, and the easier it is to make a decision. The more informed you are, the better your decision will be, which will inevitably lead to more atheism, which is why you don't like it, I suspect.
Right, because you have two different ideals crashing onto a child at the same time.
One of my atheist friends has a Muslim mom and a Hindu dad, and he ultimately came to be an atheist when he considered both of them and what they meant for each other. He does not eat pork or beef despite being an atheist because these are his ideals. He has formed his own morality from the two moralities he was given, and he is better for it. This is a good thing. More information is a good thing. Clashing perspectives is a good thing for society. If we all think the same, we are easily destroyed.
If we all reacted the same way, we'd be predictable, and there's always more than one way to view a situation. Over-specialize and you breed in weakness.
You can already see how that could lead to problems.
I'll grant that my friend has a lot of crises, but these are growth experiences for him and ultimately remains a force of good and change in his life. Differing ideas is the way we grow as a society. Stagnant minds are failing minds.
If you really want to try and experience something for yourself, become non-denominational.
Oh, isn't that convenient? It's not. Consider being irreligious. No, you still have to be in his religion. Just be non-denominational. Which in my opinion is a denomination in and of itself. Let me explain why, because I can easily see how that would be misconstrued as to be equivalent to me saying irreligiousness is a religion or something stupid like that. Denominations are a way to categorize what is and isn't valid about a religion. Every person believes some things are and are not valid. Therefore, rejecting common denominations, that is, common interpretations, still leads to a denomination or interpretation of its own. But I'm not too keen on this idea, so it's take it or leave it. I don't care that much. My point still remains about the absurdity of claiming that he should be a non-denominational Christian. A centered point on religion is not non-denominational Christian. It's irreligious agnostic atheism or irreligious absolute agnosticism.
That is pretty much like the absolute default.
No, being a Christian is not the default. Babies aren't born going, "Mama, Jehovah is Lord and we must praise him by sacrificing 7 goats and letting one run to the fields as a metaphor for Jesus Christ dying for our sins. Also, I'm hungry and can't walk."
Right?
Whatever.
And dabble in Orthodoxy, Protestantism, something that aligns with you, and that aligns with your flavor, right? Flavor of Christianity.
Why not be a Muslim, or a Buddhist, or a Hindu, or a Jew, or a Taoist, or a Shintoist, or a Celt, or a Norse, or a Greco-Roman, or a Zoroastrian, or an Assyrian, or a Kurd, or a Shamanist, or a Cherokee, or an Aboriginal Australian, or a Hawaiian, or a Satanist, or a Pantheist, or any of the other options that exist.
Yeah, I just disagree with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you by implying that you might be wrong, or even that Christianity might not be the only option.
Right? Anyway, moving on.
Sure, whatever. Assert you must be a Christian, move on. Like no other type of religious people exist.
They want to subscribe to. Once they come of the age where they can make their own decisions, parents should sit down and have a talk with them about religion and explain it to them in detail so that they can make their own judgment and decide their own fate. Y'all remember how I said earlier that there were many different religions and many different punishments? Well, there could only truly be one correct religion. So if you're wrong, you're essentially dragging your own child to whatever damnation.
If you assert it's Christianity, ramble about some nonsense, and move on, I'm going to lose my shit.
Depends on what kind of perspective you're talking about. As a Christian, I only believe in the truth. I don't believe in a truth.
Okay, believing in the truth and being a Christian are not tied up together. I believe in the truth and I am not a Christian. I'm not religious or a theist at all, and yet I still believe in the truth.
Right. But if we put it into a broader point, there isn't a one true religion.
Finally, you say something correct. You're 100% correct. They are all wrong.
And this guy says himself there is no definitive proof of a true religion.
If you agree with that, then why don't you deconvert? After all, if that's the case, then Christianity isn't true either.
Or of any religion. So instantly this guy is contradicting himself.
What? No! He's saying that there isn't a true religion, but if there was, then you might be wrong and you might be damning your kids to the same hell you're going to. He isn't stating that as a fact, he's simply saying that if X is true, then X is true. He isn't saying that X is true.
Right? At a broader term, there is no way to say one true religion, right? If you are a Christian, yeah, there is only one true religion. Muslim, yes. Jew, yes. Right? Anyway, let's continue.
I'm so confused. What are you trying to say? You lost me. You said there is no way to say there is only one true religion, then listed religions that believe there is only one true religion.
With you because of your own choices. Religious people pray, worship their God, read their Bible, and do their due diligence by the church. But what in life do they have to show for it? Christianity, for example. A Christian who is broke and an atheist who is broke will essentially lead the same lives forever.
I fully agree. A broke theist and a broke atheist are both broke. Now, what are your opinions, technical critic?
That ultimately is cap. That actually makes zero sense.
Okay, so a broke dude of a religion and a broke dude of a not religion are different scenarios. Why is this?
Right? A Christian has a certain set of a living style of ideals.
Why do I have a feeling this is going to be completely unrelated nonsense?
A certain perspective and morality. An atheist has none of that.
An atheist has no ideals or morality? Are you being serious? I'll let you clarify. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding.
Yeah, they can have a certain kind of lifestyle, but anything outside of ethics or morality, that's just a complete no-go. There is no same sense of sameness to a religious person and an atheist person.
That's a lot. Okay, so if I'm understanding you right, atheists have no morality. Anything outside of ethics is a no-go? I don't understand what that means. And atheists lack a sense of kinship with everyone else. So that's all wrong, and I am walking proof. So are most of my fellow atheists.
And also, I do want you to acknowledge, do you see a pattern here? Do you see how he has only been bringing up one biblical verse, biblical figures, and just Christianity in general? Now, you can easily just mock this up to just him knowing more about Christianity than any other religion simply because of his two parents. But don't you think that's just a tiny bit unfair that he's been only ripping on Christianity?
No, he has Christian parents. Probably lives in a mostly Christian country. He sounds American. And yeah, he probably knows the most about it. So no, it's not unfair. Just as how I usually go after Christians specifically as well.
When the title of his video is I Do Not Understand Religion.
He has been tying his points to other religions throughout the whole thing. Yes, he is going after Christianity specifically, but that doesn't mean he isn't talking about all religions.
Right? I mean, guys, come on. At this point, we obviously have to understand that when we think about disrespecting religion, or release a religion that is extremely controversial and, what's another word? Just seems to be unfair, no other atheist, right? No other liberal would ever turn to any other religion.
Wait. Go back.
No other atheist, right? No other liberal would...
No other atheist, no other liberal. Dude, atheism and liberalism are not the same. I am an atheist and I am not a liberal. Many liberals aren't atheists.
Besides Christianity. Christianity, for years and years and years, has always been prosecuted and disrespected.
Come back to me when you don't have so much lobbying power, or when your religion isn't the most worshipped religion, or when your book isn't one of the most read books, or when there are half as many churches in America. There is no American persecution of Christians, and internationally it is very rare for Christians to be persecuted.
I think a good example of this be during the Crusader type era, right? Another opinion, or sorry, not another opinion. What? Another time would be during the Tokugawa shogunate.
Yes, some bad stuff happened in the past. Now, please provide me any modern examples, because from where I'm standing, Christianity seems like the least persecuted category in the world, next to flying spaghetti monster worshippers.
Right after the Sengoku Jidai in Japan, where you were not allowed to be Christian. Being Christian was illegal. People in, I believe, 1571, 1579 in Nagasaki. In Nagasaki in the 1500s, multiple people were crucified. A very big person during that time period of when Christianity was illegal was a teenager named Amakusa Shiro, a Japanese samurai who was a part of a certain rebellion in the name of Christianity to bring Christianity alive in Japan. Obviously, he unfortunately failed, and he was tortured and executed. Right? People have fought for their religion. That doesn't make them brainwashed, like this guy said.
Cool story. Has nothing to do with modern times. In modern times, Christianity enjoys massive tax breaks, many churches, many followers, and a lot of lobbying power. Also the ability to break the law of the United States, which is a fact, such as the guy who wore a shirt full of hate speech that got away with it because of freedom of religion. Hate speech is illegal, and hate isn't a religion. Oh, well, I guess Islam exists, so... Heyo, got him!
Christianity has been majorly prosecuted and twisted, like what this guy denies and yet does. Anyway, let's continue.
He isn't persecuting Christians. He is just using them as the main example because of his culture. Also, at what point did he say Christians weren't persecuted?
Who's rich and an atheist who's rich will essentially lead the same lives forever. Some Christians die young, some atheists grow old, etc., etc. Is religion like a lottery? Like for all your faith and good works, there's a chance you might be blessed with something? You might be saying negative. Religion isn't necessarily for the mortal world, but for the afterlife. I get.
Is religion a lottery ticket? In an atheist standpoint, yes. Like what this guy believes, yeah. But for a religious person, no. You have a belief in it that depending on how you live your life depends on what you become. What becomes of you after you die. Alright? So, to a religious person, no. Obviously, religion's not a lottery ticket. That whole rhetoric only applies to atheists. Anyway, continuing.
He was about to get to that. He just said that you may think it applies to the afterlife, and then you cut him off.
But when Priest Matthew pulls up in a Mercedes-Benz with all that church money, I guess he gets to be blessed now and later, huh?
I know exactly what this guy's talking about, and I completely understand it. It is definitely hypocritical for a certain priest to have expensive clothing, cars, and houses. Those people obviously do not reflect Christianity at all, because as a Christian you are supposed to live an extremely humble life.
The teachings of the religion and the actions of those who follow it are different. They reflect Christianity as it practically is, and they reflect extremely poorly on it.
To give, God gives so we can give back, right? It is not of Christian theology to live a very to live a very a big life of luxury, right?
But they are still Christians, right? So they are reflecting on the realities of the religion, right?
Right. So yeah, although I do understand where this guy's coming from, and I do agree that those guys are hypocrites, that's simply just that is not the entirety of Christianity.
Did he say it was?
And he's just stereotyping. Anyway, continuing.
Not stereotyping, he's making a point. That went right over your head.
Even try to debate me on that. There is proven evidence of many priests being extremely wealthy as a result of their...
Holy shit, let him finish the sentence.
What's the whole point of saying proven evidence? All it takes you is to look up a priest or a megachurch pastor, right? It doesn't take that much more than a Google search to look up on Safari any mega church, like pastor, priest, whatever, right? Those people make absolute bank, right? And Christianity does not align with that. Again, all you're doing is stereotyping.
Insert laugh track here. Oh, sorry, I was not supposed to say that out loud.
Church works, and most of them abuse that shit. It don't really matter what religion you are or what God you serve, you are susceptible to any disease, any plague. You could drop dead any day now. I'm sure if a type of religion truly was blessed against diseases and shit, after all this time, some type of statistical data would come out about it. Humans aren't stupid. We would definitely pick up on some type of anomaly like that. When good stuff happens, thank God. But when bad stuff happens, it's fuck the devil. But God is stronger than the devil. So if you were to thank God for saving someone's life, you're indirectly admitting that God picks and chooses who he saves. It's really that.
Indeed. Makes you think.
He makes a relatively interesting argument. Basically, because Satan constantly tempts us, and God does nothing because of our free will, but yet is stronger than all of us, that he must pick and choose who he saves or helps.
Remember the last video I responded to, the 3 points for God one, where I threw that straw man on the screen? I don't want to have to reuse that asset. Please don't make me. I don't think you're doing it on purpose. You just don't understand what he means. The Satan versus God one was a different argument than the God chooses who to save one. Basically, when something good happens, it's God, but when something bad happens, it's Satan, despite the fact that God is more powerful than Satan. And when God saves someone, it proves that he doesn't save everyone.
And who he lets suffer under sin. That is completely contradictory. Sorry, not contradictory. That is just false. And it clearly shows how he doesn't understand exactly what Christianity is.
Okay, explain how so.
Yeah, the devil, like, shapes how we are tempted, right? But ultimately, we fall under sin. And this example of our foolishness is literally demonstrated in Genesis, the very first part of the Hebrew Bible. The very first book in the Hebrew Bible, Genesis, something that you can easily look up, and then this guy simply just doesn't understand that.
God makes the tree, says don't eat of the tree. The devil shows up, tempts them to eat from the tree. God does nothing about it, nothing at all, then he punishes us for it. Even those of us not around. This is at best Satan's fault, and at worst entirely God's fault.
Ultimately, God gives us free will to do whatever we want. We choose on whether we prefer to indulge in Satan's advances or not.
God is all-powerful and all-knowing. He created the universe. He can see everything that will happen and could happen. This means that God knew exactly what would happen when he created the universe and how differing the creation changed the events. There cannot be free will under this model. If the way God made the universe is going to affect the way I act, which it can only do, then I cannot have free will, especially if God knows exactly how things are going to turn out because he is all-knowing.
That's what we choose. He doesn't pick and choose, right? It is what we choose to do. And people need to understand that. You choose to indulge in Satan or not, right? It has nothing to do with God. Right? Anyway, moving on.
Misunderstanding the meanings of basic words for Jesus. That's a good title.
Simple. You might be saying negative. It's God. He decides your lifespan. Okay, but we're all God's children. So imagine you have 12 kids and you know when they're all gonna die, but you pick and choose how long each of them live. There is no reason that...
Again, free will.
Just saying free will is not an argument.
And also, quite literally, after the Great Flood, God literally made a promise not to mess with the Earth's affairs again. Whether you want to consider that to not flood the Earth again, or whether to not mess with Earth's affairs again, that completely decides.
Decides what, man? Please explain your points in more detail. This is painful.
Also, everything that happens like naturally.
So then you believe in a deistic God, which cannot be the God of the Bible because the God of the Bible is explicitly a theistic God.
Right? Because again, we of our own free will, we had to choose what happens. Because I decided to get up at approximately like 9:30, doesn't mean that God made me wake up any earlier or any later, right? Anyway, continue.
Okay, let me set this out clearly. God knows everything and made the universe. When he made the universe, he knew, by definition, everything that was going to happen in that universe. Okay, so he knew that you were going to wake up at 9:30. So if he wanted you not to, he could have tweaked the creation. Therefore, you have no free will.
Fucked up for us, but not fucked up for him. Not only that, but if the devil also influences sin and God lets us sin because of free will, would that not be a conflict of interest? Okay, so the devil's gonna kill you, but I'm gonna save your life. But the devil's also making a whole bunch of people sin, which will land them in hell where they will burn forever. But I'm not gonna do anything about that. You might be...
Yeah. I know exactly what this guy is yapping about. Ultimately, we choose on whether to indulge in it, like I literally just said.
Well, he made the universe and knew exactly what was going to happen, so you have no free will, like I literally just said.
And, two, it's not... What you need to understand is that people who follow a certain religion, they have to work towards it.
What you have to understand is that being in a religion and doing what the religion prescribes are not the same. Yes, I am doing that voice on purpose.
In John, I'll put the verse somewhere on this video. In John, it quite literally says that we have to do work if we love Jesus, if we love God.
You did not put the verse in the description, so I'll have to look for it. I looked. I couldn't find it. I don't care enough. Cite your sources, man.
We have to put work into ourselves, right? We can't simply just believe in God, but then also blame God for allowing us to fall into sin. We choose to do that or not.
Already have explained several times why that is not the case.
If we choose to constantly follow God, if we choose to constantly do that and to put ourselves closer and closer to him as much as possible, to carry our cross, that ultimately means that we understand sin and we reject it.
So then I suppose you've never worked on the Sabbath.
Right? If a certain someone constantly indulges in sin and is constantly in that lifestyle of what is considered a sin in Christianity, if someone follows that lifestyle, that's clearly not someone who gives a shit about God.
Or at least about the Christian God. I guess you believe he's the only and the obvious God. But I must ask, have you ever wanted something someone else has? Because coveting your neighbor's goods is a sin.
That's clearly not someone who was forced by God's hand, or who was simply left out by God, right?
So is God not all-powerful then?
That person who decided to do all that chose to do that.
Under God's supervision. So tacitly approved by God. In fact, did it because the universe was set up in this way.
Right. There is a whopping basically 3 minutes left. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end it off right here at 5 minutes and 1 seconds. And I'm just going to get back to it later. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the second part.
And then he edited the second part to be a part of the first part, which also proves he can edit.
Makes no sense. Eternity is pretty scary when you think about it. Even if you are in a wonderful place, think about forever. Then just keep thinking about forever. Then keep thinking about forever for the rest of your life. Then just stop thinking about forever because you can't think about forever because you don't live forever. Even if you did live forever, you couldn't think about forever because it lasts forever. Do you understand?
Now it's just blackness. You could make a character to put on the screen or something.
From that whole clip that I just showed, I'm just going to be honest, I don't understand what he was saying.
So rewatch it until you do. I mean, Not that I am perfect, but I at least rewatch stuff 3 or 4 times before I just give up. And even then I try to be charitable and rephrase it so they at least know what I thought they said.
He kept saying forever just to say forever.
That's one theory. Another theory is that he was trying to make some kind of point.
But I'm going to go ahead and assume that he is talking about how you cannot imagine forever because, like he mentioned, forever is forever. And obviously you can't think about forever, which doesn't make any sense. Let's go ahead and assume that heaven is forever. The kingdom of God is forever, which it is. But you also have to understand that heaven isn't specifically just forever, right?
What? Is it or is it not forever?
What we all need to recognize is that we are humans, and that is simply the truth. You cannot just go ahead and say heaven is forever. Yeah, heaven is forever, but that's not purely what heaven is.
What? What are you talking about? You're gonna give me a crisis, man. Please start making sense.
And it's definitely way more than what we could already imagine.
Dude, slow down. Explain what you mean. Please, I'm so lost right now. Heaven is forever, but it is not purely forever. It is forever, but it is not what we understand. This doesn't make any sense, dude.
What we need to recognize is that God is way better than us. He is way smarter than us. He knows way more. He's more powerful.
I guess we're moving on now. That's good. That was a clusterfuck of an argument. You're wrong that it is forever because it is forever, but it is not purely forever, and it is forever, but it is not what we understand.
Right, there's a whole lot that we don't know.
Sure.
Right, and I'll put up a verse that, supports my claim. First Corinthians 2:9 does emphasize that we who have only been living earthly cannot comprehend what God has planned, or really who he is in general.
However, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love him. Okay, I understand. So you are saying that heaven is forever but is beyond comprehension. Wait, isn't that what he said?
Right. The verse simply does not say that at all, right?
Say what? Genuinely, I don't understand what you are arguing about, man. You are the least clear person I've ever had on the channel.
It's never gonna happen in the first place. You might be saying negative. Again, this is heaven. This is God. This isn't something you would understand in your human form. But again, that is who I am. That's how I function mentally. To make me suddenly understand and be fine with something like that would make me a completely different person altogether. The whole point of seeing your friends and family in heaven is that you get to interact with the people who you got to know in the physical world. But transcending into this higher plane of existence, no one would be the same. Without free will, no one would act the same. You would all damn near just be the same person. You don't notice it, but fear, conflict, anger, while all negatives, help in making us more. They give us substance, and the promise that all of that will be wiped away is nice on the surface, but when you really think about it, you realize that all you would become is a drone forever and ever and ever.
He brings up a relatively interesting point, but ultimately it is a misconception, and he just doesn't really understand what sin actually is and what it is supposed to be. Let me explain.
He isn't talking about sin. He's whatever, man. Just talk about sin for a bit. I just want to be done with this video. What was that noise? Play that again. What was that?
Alright, so we have to understand, what is sin? Well, sin separates us from God,
who is all powerful, so who can unseparate us from him at any point whatsoever, before we even become separated from him, because he has power over literally everything.
Right, there is no other way around it. It degrades us, it limits ourselves. You have to think about it, right? Think about it like this. Jealousy, pridefulness, all that, what does it do? It limits yourself, it degrades you.
God is jealous. He says so himself. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents, to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. Exodus 20, verse 5. And many other passages as well.
What I literally just said.
It limits yourself. It degrades you. That's what you just said. So I guess it limits and degrades God too.
Right.
Right. God, being jealous, is limited and degraded.
To simply answer the last 2 points he made, he said that he explained how heaven would be scary to think about, or heaven in hindsight would be scary because it is forever and you can't really think about forever. But what you also have to understand is that heaven simply isn't just about forever, right? It is a place of joy. It is a place where we will be able to live with our loved ones.
Dude, he was just talking about how that sounds nice but would be bad. He was just talking about that.
And God, forever. And heaven is not a place where everything would just be like everything would just be a bot. Everyone would just be a bot. No, that's not how it works.
So you can disobey God and do bad things in heaven?
What heaven is, in this case, what it is that simply we would not be unique. Or let me make this straight. We would not be unique based on sin, right? That's more of a misconception. We would be unique because we decided to carry our cross. We decided to live in God's word. We decided to do all of that good stuff, right? And heaven is where we go as a reward, where we wanted to go in the first place, because it is so much better than hell, obviously.
Don't really care about either, honestly. Not for a dislike of living, but I do think it'd be preferable to spend my time on Earth and stop existing than to die and go to a place to keep existing.
That's about all I can say, really. Hope you all have a good night, and good night or day. I'll end you off with a verse. Bye-bye.
No verse needed. Have a good day. Okay, so that is that video done. Now we move on to the video he did on Ricky Gervais.
Alright, we're just going to go ahead and quickly go through this because I saw it and I'm going to take the opportunity to just answer all the arguments this guy gives, so let's get it going.
Go on.
If you're atheist
I am.
and you don't believe in an afterlife,
I don't.
If you don't believe in heaven and hell and all that, why don't you just go around raping and murdering as much as you want?
I do.
What?
I do go around raping and murdering as much as I want, which is not at all.
Because he's got a conscience.
Okay, well, we can X out that argument immediately, considering that someone like Joseph Stalin exists. So yeah, X that out, effective immediately.
How does the existence of Joseph Stalin have anything to do with atheists not doing bad things because they don't want to? What is the argument behind this statement? What is the reasoning behind this statement?
Now let's head over to the main part of this argument, just to dive a little deeper. This guy that we're looking at right now implies that he has a conscience, which is like already diving out from the waters of atheism to something deeper.
No, it's really not. He has a conscience. Why is a different question. Atheism is not a worldview. It is a position on a singular question.
But atheism can't go any deeper. Like, let's take it out. Let's put an analogy of a pool, right? 10 feet, you got atheism. 20 feet, you got theism. We're already going 30 feet.
Atheism, theism for that matter, is not a worldview. These are positions on one claim, that a God exists. That's it. Just positions on a claim, not a worldview, not a religion, not a philosophy, just a position.
It can't work, because this guy's an atheist. So the idea of like this consciousness can debate morality, even though religion can only enforce morality, not consciousness.
Religion is not the only force of moral thought. Religion is one of several methods to discuss morality. Philosophy is one of the main ones as well. In fact, philosophy is more important in the field of morality than religion is.
It doesn't work, right?
Your argument doesn't work. Correct.
So let's continue.
But if death is just the end, what's the point?
What's the point in what?
Living. Might as well just kill yourself.
So if you're watching a movie and you're really enjoying it,
Yeah.
and someone points out that this will end eventually, do you just go, oh, forget it then, what's the point, and just turn it off?
No, because I can watch it again.
Well, I think life is precious because you can't watch it again. I mean, you can believe in an afterlife if that makes you feel better. Doesn't mean it's true.
You know,
Once you realise you're not going to be around forever,
Say something.
I think that's what makes life so magical. One day you'll eat your last meal, smell your last flower, hug your friend for the very last time. You might not know it's the last time, so that's why you should do everything you love with passion, you know? Treasure the few years you've got, because that's all there is.
Okay, well, I just want to quickly say that what she said, that you can just simply rewatch it again, doesn't make any sense, because why would you rewatch it again if you willingly stopped watching it?
No, it's like you can rewatch the movie again once it has ended. Like the credits roll and you can rewatch it later.
That just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's head over to the main part. He basically explains that he cherishes life because you can only experience it once, which is true, and you definitely should. But he has no reasoning to explain. You can't just give some speech and then not bring out some kind of higher life form.
Okay, but you can though. So, yeah.
That doesn't make sense. You need to have a certain religion,
Nuh-uh.
like Christianity, for example. They're British, so obviously Christianity is going to be a good example. Christianity already gives you a meaning of life, gives you a set of rules, it gives you everything you need to live. Atheism does not do that.
Firstly, atheism isn't a worldview, and secondly, Christianity gives you food and water, a roof and clothing, running water. It gives you all of that stuff.
It makes absolutely zero sense that this guy would want to live.
No, he just explained why it makes sense he wants to live. Because he can only do it once, is his reason. Because everything is temporary, he values it very highly. He lives life to its fullest because it can only be done once.
You only experience it once. So what? There's no meaning to it.
Atheism is not a worldview, so it doesn't need to give you a meaning. Atheism is not nihilism because nihilism is a worldview and atheism is not a worldview. Argue all you want about if atheism naturally leads to nihilism, but ultimately it is not nihilism because it isn't a worldview.
This guy needs to explain why it's precious.
Why? He has his reasons and that's good enough. He doesn't owe you an explanation. He doesn't owe you anything. Not to mention he already explained it. It's precious because it's temporary.
Why it's so magical.
Because it's temporary.
And I think it's kind of ironic that he uses the term magical, even though magical is the difference between the normal and the paranormal. But because this guy is atheist, he can only believe in the normal part.
Well, I guess I'm bringing out the strawman asset again.
But he's still using paranormal phrases like magic. This guy has no idea what he's talking about.
No, you have no idea what you're talking about. So that video is over an hour long. Sorry for the long video. I hope you liked it anyway. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing.